Hey folks, I'm trying something interesting today. I read an article this past week about IBM's Watson computer. Looks like IBM has been working in their cognitive kitchen to try to see if they can create a computer that thinks like a human. And everybody's heard of IBM's Watson computer that was recently, within the past year or two, on Jeopardy, and it pretty much dominated Jeopardy. So it's starting to think like a human. There's an interesting side note that I'd read another article about Watson is they fed in the Urban Dictionary to it, and they ended up pulling the plug on that because Watson started cursing. And so I guess if you make a computer that's too much like a human and you don't like what that is turning into, you can just remove that. But I thought this was interesting that they fed Watson billions and billions of recipes and thousands of flavor combinations to try to see if it could come up with a new barbecue sauce that people would actually eat and like. And it had to be an original one, and it did. It came up with something that's called the Bengali Butternut Squash barbecue sauce. So I looked at the recipe and I could not get in my mind what this would taste like, because it's very interesting, it's different. So I found the recipe and I decided I'm going to make it, see how a computer could come up with a barbecue sauce that might actually be edible. I worked at IBM for 18 years, and I have a lot of respect for their what they do, especially in the software and hardware, and I'm going to give this a shot. So let's take a look at the ingredients. This is quite an ingredient list, and a lot of things I would not really think of in a barbecue sauce. Now, I could not actually get some of the ingredients that it called for. For instance, it called for Thai chilies. I could not find Thai chilies, so I'm going to go with some serrano. It also called for Meyer lemon, and it is not Meyer lemon seasoned, so I couldn't find Meyer lemon, so I'm going to use the zest of a regular lemon and the juice of lemon. It called for coriander leaves, or also known as cilantro, mustard seed, turmeric, and it actually called for fresh turmeric. I have no idea where you would find fresh turmeric, so I'm going to go with powdered turmeric. We got some ground cardamom, butternut squash, of course, and it called for tamarind concentrate. I could not find a tamarind concentrate, but I found tamarind pulp, so I'm going to double up on the tamarind. It calls for white wine, dates, so a little bit of molasses, some rice vinegar, some sriracha, and some salt to taste. So let me get everything portioned out and get it ready, and let's start making this barbecue sauce and see how it tastes. So stay tuned. Okay, I failed to mention when I was describing the ingredients, I forgot butter. So we got 3 tablespoons of butter melting, and I have 1.5 cups of cubed up butternut squash. Looks exactly like cheddar cheese. So I'm going to add that, and it says to on medium heat, sweat the butternut squash for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to do exactly like Watson says and sweat that for 10 minutes. So join me back here in 10 minutes and let's finish building this barbecue sauce. That's been simmering for 10 minutes. So now I'm going to add 3/4 cup of white wine and 1/4 cup of rice vinegar. To that I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of Sriracha sauce, a teaspoon of soy sauce, which I forgot to mention as well, and then 3 teaspoons of water. So let's get that all in there. along with 2 teaspoons of the tamarind. Like I said, I could not find tamarind concentrate, so I don't know how that's going to affect it, so I doubled the tamarind, so that's 2 teaspoons of tamarind. So now we bring this up to a simmer and let simmer and then continue on. So stay tuned. You gotta love a recipe that calls for sriracha. It's a nice simmer. So now let's go on and add the rest of the ingredients. Here I have a 1/4 cup of chopped dates. I've never used dates in a recipe in my life, so this should be interesting. And then we have called for Thai chilies, but I'm going to use serrano, so I'm going to bump this up to 2 teaspoons, or to a full teaspoon instead of a 1/2 teaspoon. Originally called for a 1/2 teaspoon of Thai chilies, but I'm going to go with a full teaspoon of the serranos with the seeds because I want it spicy. Now I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of mustard seed, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, and a 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom powder. So I'm just going to bring this up, keep this at this simmer, and let this reduce by about half for about 20 minutes. So says Watson. So stick with me and let's see how this turns out. I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes. There we go. That's been 20 minutes and it's reduced down quite a bit. So I've turned off the heat. It smells really good. So now I'm going to add a teaspoon of coriander or cilantro leaves that I've diced up or minced up, and a 1/2 teaspoon of lemon zest. I'm just going to add this to this, and then I'm going to let this cool just a little bit, and then process this in the Ninja food processor. And then I'm going to add the last couple of ingredients and let's see how it did. So definitely stay tuned. Okay, now let's process this all into a barbecue sauce. Doesn't really look like a barbecue sauce to me, but you know, we'll see. Ninja is really good at processing things like this. I gotta say, it smells really good. Yeah, I don't want to get that gunk up in my Ninja. Come on, where is it? There you go. Okay, let's process this. Okay, now I have not tasted this for a good reason, because a computer can't taste, it has no taste buds. So I'm going to finish off with the rest of this, and it calls for a teaspoon of lemon juice and a teaspoon of molasses. No, tablespoon of lemon juice, I'm sorry. So that was 1 teaspoon, that's 2, that's 3, that's a tablespoon of lemon juice. And then a teaspoon of molasses. I would think more molasses, but you know, I'm not a computer. Oh. Okay, let's process that. am going to taste it because it says to use salt to taste. So if I can't taste it, I don't know how much salt. Well, it's very thick. So this is going to be like a really thick barbecue sauce. Very interesting flavor. I'm going to start with a teaspoon of kosher salt. Definitely has a little kick to it. Slightly sweet, not very. There's my spoon up. Kind of is the texture that I thought it would be like, almost like baby food. Let's see if that's enough salt. I'm going to add another half a teaspoon of salt because I don't really think that's enough. So that's going to be 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. Now let's see. Okay, that's good. I can taste all those flavors in there. So I'm just going to transfer this to another container and refrigerate it for a while until it's chilled down so that all these flavors can mingle. And then I'll bring you back for the final taste test. So definitely you want to stay tuned for this. I've let this chill for about an hour in the fridge, like Watson says. And to tell you the truth, this does not look anything like a barbecue sauce that I would ever think of. Actually, it just looks like butternut squash, like baby food. I could see this not as a barbecue sauce, but maybe as a basting sauce for vegetables or something, or maybe use this in a stir fry or something, but I cannot think of any grilled meats that this would be good with. It might be good on the side, like as a dipping sauce or something, but as far as a barbecue sauce, it's very thick. You know, more like pea soup, but that's probably because of the butternut squash. I could probably tweak this, and if I was to tweak it, I would probably add a cup of vegetable stock to thin it out. But like I said, I think this would be better in a stir fry or something, or as a side basting sauce for grilled vegetables maybe. But it's cooled down. Let's give it a try, give it a taste. These flavors have really had a chance to mingle. Let's see how we did. Very tart. It's probably because of the tamarind. Taste the lemon. Not very sweet. I didn't think it would be. It's got a nice little heat level to it. You can definitely taste the cardamom. You really can taste that cardamom. It's pretty good. It's got a really good flavor. One thing that I found interesting that Watson left out was garlic. Why would you make a barbecue sauce and not include garlic. That's just my 2 cents. But anyway, there's Watson's Bengali Butternut Squash Barbecue Sauce. Thanks for watching. I'll actually include the recipe that I followed, and I'll play around with this, maybe tweak it a little bit, and maybe I'll add some comments of what I did to kind of like make it something that I would normally use. But for now, it was a good experiment. It's a good try. Thanks a lot, Watson.